Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the story, everyone. Samantha Hayes was known for talking too much. She was authentic, witty, and had a sense of humor that always made people laugh. But she also had a talent for getting herself into trouble with her own words. And that morning, her big mouth almost ended her career. Balancing a cup of coffee, some reports, and her phone between her shoulder and cheek, she vented to her best friend in the group chat. Or at least she thought it was the right group. Seriously, I can't take Liam anymore. That man is like a Greek god in a suit. Way too handsome, but also the most arrogant and unbearable person on the planet. Hez like a hot corporate dictator. She laughed to herself and hit send. A second later, the silence in the marketing room seemed to mock her. Every eye was on Samantha. A coworker nearly choked on his coffee before whispering, "You sent that to the company group." Her blood ran cold. The screen glowed in her hand. Message sent to Global Team Group. Hundreds of eyes, including Liam Brooks, the CEO. Notifications started pouring in. Laughing emojis, shocked reactions. Oh wow. And then, like something out of a horror movie, one final alert. Liam Brooks listened to your voice message. Samantha's heart started racing. No, no, no. This can't be happening. She whispered to herself, panicking before she could come up with a way out. Firm footsteps echoed down the hall. The sound of polished shoes made the whole room fall silent. And there he was, tall, flawless, with a cold stare that could see through someone's soul. "Miss Hayes," he said in a deep, firm voice, not raising his tone. "We need to talk now." Crossing that hallway felt like walking to the gallows. Inside his office, with a stunning view of Manhattan behind him, the silence felt heavier than any lecture. Samantha tried to speak. "Mr. Brooks, that was a misunderstanding." He raised an eyebrow, almost amused. "Hot corporate dictator? Is that how you see me?" Samantha swallowed hard, wishing she could disappear. But instead of getting angry, Liam stepped closer, a small smile forming at the corner of his lips. "There are many ways I could handle this situation. I could fire you today." He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. "But I prefer another solution." Her eyes widened. "From now on, you'll be working directly with me. Every report, presentation, and meeting, we'll do it together every day." Samantha blinked, stunned. "Is this punishment? Let's just say it's a re-education. This should be interesting." His smile grew as if he had a plan in mind. She walked out of the office in disbelief. She hadn't been fired, but maybe this was worse. And as she walked back under the curious stares and whispers, one thought kept spinning in her head. Liam Brooks wasn't mad. No, he was enjoying this, and Samantha knew that smile of his was only the beginning of a game that could turn her whole life upside down. The next morning, Samantha tried to pretend everything was normal. She arrived on time, greeted her coworkers with her usual smile, and sat at her desk as if nothing had happened. But how do you act normal when the CEO of the company just made your life his personal reality show? It didn't even take 15 minutes for Liam to appear. "Good morning, Samantha. I see you're right on time," he said, appearing behind her like a silent, elegant ghost in a suit. She nearly spilled her coffee. "Mr. Brooks, you're very quiet these days. It's one of my many talents," he replied with that dry tone she was already starting to resent. "I need to review the sales report you prepared yesterday." Samantha frowned. "But that report isn't even from my department." "It is now. Remember our conversation yesterday," as if she could forget. Liam pulled a chair and sat next to her, so close she could smell his cologne. A very expensive one, of course. "May I ask why you're here? Direct supervision, remember." He pointed at her computer screen. "And by the way, that staple is crooked." Samantha looked at the staple, holding a few papers together. "Seriously, you're checking my staples now." "Details matter, Samantha. Just like your posture. Your back is slouched." She straightened up automatically, then realized what she had done inside. "Don't you have anything else to do, like run a company?" Liam smiled slightly. "Running a company includes making sure all employees are aligned." "Speaking of alignment, how about we schedule a meeting for 3 to discuss what?" "Operational efficiency." Samantha blinked. "That doesn't even make sense. I work in marketing." "You work wherever I say now," he replied, standing up. "Oh, and Samantha, yes. Congratulations on your vocal boldness yesterday. It was very enlightening." He walked away, leaving Samantha with the urge to throw the bent paperclip at his head. At 3, she was in the meeting room alone, waiting. Liam came in 5 minutes later, carrying a folder and looking supremely bored. "So," he said, sitting across the table, "how are you adjusting to the new arrangement?" "Wonderfully. I love being micromanaged by someone who shows up out of nowhere to criticize paper clips. I see your usual good humor is still intact. It's a natural gift." Liam flipped through a few papers in the folder, clearly pretending to be busy. "Tell me, Samantha, do you still think I'm arrogant, or have I evolved into charmingly unbearable?" The question caught her off guard. Was he really quoting her audio? Well, she tilted her head, pretending to think seriously. "I think you've reached a whole new level. Arrogant, unbearable, charming, and intrusive. It's practically a talent." "Intrusive? You literally appear behind me without warning. It's like having a very well-dressed ghost supervisor." To her surprise, Liam almost smiled. "Almost. And what do you suggest I do? Wear a bell or maybe announce your arrival like medieval heralds? Here, yay. Hi, yay. The CEO is coming." This time he couldn't hide it. The corner of his mouth curved slightly. "You have quite the imagination." "Thank you. I have other qualities too, in case you're interested in discovering them." Liam looked at her for a moment, and Samantha felt something strange in the air, like they were playing a game neither of them really knew the rules to. "How about a coffee?" he asked suddenly. Now. They went to the break room where Samantha made 2 cups of coffee while Liam watched her every move. "Don't you have anything better to do?" she asked, stirring the sugar. "I'm doing exactly what I want to do, which is getting to know you better." The spoon stopped mid-stir. Samantha looked at him. "Get to know me better. You said some very interesting things in that audio. I want to know if there's more where that came from. You want me to keep bad-mouthing you? I want you to be honest like you were yesterday." Samantha laughed, a genuine, amused sound. "Careful what you wish for, Mr. Brooks. My honesty can be dangerous. I'm willing to take that risk." She handed him the cup, and when their fingers briefly touched, she felt a strange spark. She said, trying to sound casual, "What's the plan? Follow me around until I make another epic mistake. Maybe I just want to see what other talents you're hiding besides vocal boldness." "Oh, I have plenty of talents. I can spill coffee on important people, trip over imaginary rugs, and create awkward situations out of thin air. Impressive resume. I work hard at it." They returned to the room, and Liam seemed more relaxed. Samantha noticed that when he wasn't being the intimidating CEO, he was almost normal. "Almost, she said, sitting back down. "You smile more than I expected. I do a little in the corner of your mouth like you're hiding fun secrets." Liam studied her carefully. "And you observe more than you should. That's another talent of mine." "How many talents do you have exactly?" "Still figuring that out. But I can guarantee they'll all give you a hard time." This time Liam laughed for real. A low, genuine sound that completely changed his face. "I'm starting to believe that." The rest of the afternoon went by quickly, with Liam finding excuses to show up at her desk. Comments about reports, questions about projects, remarks on her posture. Samantha responded to every jab with humor and gradually realized it was turning into some kind of verbal duel, a duel she was strangely enjoying. At the end of the day, as she was packing up, Liam showed up once again. "Samantha, let me guess, my purse is messy. Actually, I need you to join me on a business trip tomorrow morning." She stopped arranging her papers. "A trip? Portland investor meeting? It'll be quick. And why me?" Liam gave that secret smile again. "Because you're my new special assistant, remember?" Samantha looked at him, trying to figure out what he was really up to. But one thing she knew for sure, that trip would be anything but ordinary. "All right," she finally said, "but if you try to tell me how to pack my suitcase, I swear." "Swear what?" "I'm still thinking about it, but it'll be creative." Liam chuckled softly and walked away, leaving Samantha with the feeling she had just agreed to a lot more than a simple business trip. The meeting in Portland went better than Samantha expected. The investors seemed impressed with Liam's presentation, and she managed not to spill coffee on anyone important, which she counted as a personal victory. But when they got to the airport at 5:00 the afternoon, ready to fly back to New York, reality hit them like a bucket of cold water. Cancelled. Samantha stared at the flight board in disbelief. "What do you mean cancelled? Storm, ma'am," the airline employee explained with a tired smile. "All flights to the East Coast have been suspended until tomorrow morning." Liam ran a hand through his hair, messing up his usually perfect look for the first time. And hotels. Well, the woman made a face. It's peak season, and with all these canceled flights, it might be hard to find one. 2 hours later, they stood at the reception desk of the only hotel in all of Portland with a vacancy. It was a modest place, but clean, clearly not used to hosting executives in $1,000 suits. 1 room with 2 beds, said the receptionist, handing them the key. That's all we have. Samantha and Liam looked at each other. The situation was awkward enough without having to share a room. No way to get separate rooms? Liam asked. Sir, you're lucky to get this one. With the storm, half the city is without power. In the elevator, the silence was so heavy that Samantha could almost feel it. Liam looked visibly uncomfortable, adjusting his tie for the 3rd time in 5 minutes. Relax, she finally said. I'm not going to attack you during the night. I promise to keep my hands to myself. He glanced at her. That's not what I'm worried about. Then what? Liam hesitated. Do you snore? Samantha burst out laughing. Seriously, that's your concern that I snore? It's a valid question. Well, get ready to find out. The room was small but cozy. 2 twin beds with a nightstand in between, an old TV, and a window facing a busy street in Portland. Liam looked around like he was analyzing a complicated puzzle. Not fancy, but it'll do, Samantha said, tossing her bag onto one of the beds. Definitely not fancy. Oh, come on. Where's your sense of adventure? Probably left it on the private jet we couldn't take. Samantha laughed and started digging through her bag. I'm going to the corner store to grab a few things. You want anything? Like what? Real food? Maybe some chips, soda, things normal people eat when they're stuck in modest hotels. Liam looked genuinely puzzled. Chips? Wow. You really never had a normal life, did you? Samantha stared at him, amazed. Stay put. I'll be back. I'm going to introduce you to the world of junk food. When she came back 20 minutes later, she found Liam sitting at the edge of the bed, still in his full suit, staring at the TV like it was an alien object. You didn't change, she asked, dropping the groceries onto her bed. I didn't bring casual clothes. Of course you didn't. She shook her head and pulled out a bag of chips, soda, and microwave popcorn. You bought popcorn. It's tradition. Strange hotel night with a coworker requires popcorn. It's practically a federal law. Liam watched as she took off her shoes and walked to the bathroom with a smaller bag. Where are you going? To change clothes. Unlike some people, I don't sleep in a suit. When she came out wearing pink unicorn pajamas, Liam was clearly trying not to laugh. Don't say a word, she warned, pointing a finger at him. I wasn't going to. Liar. You're laughing on the inside. Maybe a little. At least I brought pajamas. Are you going to sleep with your tie on too? Liam looked down at his clothes like he had just now realized he was still wearing them. I didn't bring pajamas. Seriously, Samantha gave him a look of genuine disbelief. Who travels without pajamas? People who usually stay in hotels that offer silk robes. Right, at least take off the jacket and tie. You look like you're heading into a meeting with the president. Hesitant, Liam took off the jacket and loosened the tie. It was the first time Samantha had seen him looking less than perfect. And she had to admit he looked even more attractive this way. More human. Better, she said. Hi. Tearing open the bag of chips. Now, let's eat junk food and watch bad TV like normal people. I don't eat chips. You're eating this today. She pushed the bag toward him. It's part of the experience. Liam cautiously picked up one of the orange snacks and studied it like it was a scientific specimen. Just eat it already, Samantha said, rolling her eyes. He took a bite, chewed slowly, and his expression shifted slightly. It's not terrible. High praise coming from you. She turned on the TV and started flipping through the channels. What do you usually watch? News, documentaries, economic programs? Of course you do. She stopped on an old romantic comedy. How about this? Seems frivolous. Perfect. Just what we need. As the evening went on, something strange started to happen. Liam gradually began to relax. First he took off his shoes. Then he rolled up his shirt sleeves. And when Samantha made a particularly funny comment about the movie's main character, he laughed. A real genuine laugh. You're funny, he said suddenly. Thanks. I think that's the first genuinely nice thing you've ever said to me. That's not true. It is. Every other comment has been either sarcastic or a disguised constructive criticism. Liam thought about it. Maybe you're right. I'm always right. It's another one of my talents. How many talents do you have exactly? Still counting. She turned him on the bed. And you? Do you have any talents besides intimidating employees and wearing expensive suits? Is intimidating employees a talent? Definitely. You're really good at it. Liam smiled. A real one this time, not his usual secret smirk. What else do you want to know? Everything. What were you like as a kid? Were you always this serious? No. He hesitated, then continued. Actually, I was pretty wild. My mom used to say I was a hurricane on legs. No way. You. I swear. I once broke the living room window trying to play soccer inside the house. What happened? My mom made me pay for the repairs with my allowance. It took 6 months. Samantha laughed, picturing a young and mischievous Liam. And when did you become this serious, intimidating man? His expression changed slightly. When my father died, I was 16, and suddenly I had to grow up really fast. The tone of the conversation shifted, became more intimate. Samantha felt something stir in her chest, a tenderness she hadn't expected. I'm sorry. It was a long time ago, but it still hurts. Liam looked at her, surprised by her understanding. Sometimes they sat in silence for a moment, watching the movie without really paying attention. And you? He finally asked. Have you always been this spontaneous? My mom says I was born talking and never stopped. Samantha smiled. I was that kid who asked why about everything. Drove everyone crazy. I can imagine. My parents got divorced when I was 12. I think that's when I learned to use humor as a shield. What do you mean? If you make everyone laugh, they don't notice you're sad inside. Oh, and studied her closely. Do you still do that? Sometimes, she shrugged. It works most of the time. But not always. Not always. They looked at each other, and Samantha felt something shift in the air between them, as if they were truly seeing each other for the first time. Do you want popcorn? She asked suddenly, needing to break the intensity of the moment. Sure. She walked over to the tiny microwave in the room and put the popcorn in. While she waited, Liam came closer, standing beside her. How long does it take? A few minutes. She was very aware of how close he was of the warmth radiating from his body. Liam. Yes. You're different from what I thought. Different how? More human. He chuckled softly. Thanks, I think. The popcorn started popping in the microwave, and Samantha went to get ice from the bucket she had filled earlier. But when she turned around quickly, she bumped into Liam, who was standing right behind her. Ice went flying everywhere, some cubes hitting his chest. Oh no! Samantha started laughing. Sorry. Liam looked at the ice cubes sliding down his shirt, and to her surprise, he started laughing too. You even managed to be clumsy with ice. It's a special talent. She picked up a cube from the floor, and on impulse threw it at him. Liam's eyes widened as the ice hit his shoulder. You didn't just do that? I did. She picked up another cube, laughing. And I'll do it again. What followed was a completely childish and ridiculous ice war. They ran around the tiny room laughing and throwing cubes at each other like kids. Liam, with his wet shirt and messy hair, looked years younger, and when they finally stopped, breathless and laughing, they were standing very close to each other. The laughter faded gradually. Liam raised his hand and brushed a strand of hair from her face. Samantha, he said softly. Yes, I. That's when the fire alarm went off. The shrill sound filled the room, completely breaking the moment. They quickly pulled apart, looking around in confusion. What was that? Liam began. Oh no, the popcorn. Samantha ran to the microwave where smoke was pouring out of the edges. I forgot about the popcorn. She opened the door and a cloud of smoke escaped, making the alarm blare even louder. The popcorn was completely burned, black as coal. How do you even burn popcorn? Liam shouted over the alarm. It's another one of my talents. She shouted back, trying to wave away the smoke with a towel. It took them 10 minutes to shut off the alarm and air out the room. By the time they managed, they were exhausted, soaked from the melted ice cubes, and embarrassed by the moment that had almost happened. Well, Samantha said, trying to break the awkwardness, at least we're not going to starve. We still have Doritos. Liam ran a hand through his wet hair. Maybe we should try to get some sleep. Tomorrow is going to be a long day. Yeah, you're right. They got ready for bed in silence, each avoiding looking at the other. Samantha curled up in her bed, pretending to be comfortable, while Liam lay stiff as a board. "Samantha," he said in the dark. "Yes. No snoring. Okay." She smiled into the darkness. "You either." But neither of them really slept that night. The next morning, the flight back was almost completely silent. Liam had returned to being the cold, distant CEO, and Samantha couldn't figure out why. The man who had laughed with her and almost kissed her seemed to have completely vanished. When they got back to the office, he barely looked at her. "Thanks for coming along on the trip," he said formally. "You may return to your usual tasks." And then he disappeared into his office, leaving Samantha completely confused and for the first time since meeting him, genuinely hurt. The following Monday, Samantha arrived at work expecting Liam to return to his usual teasing behavior. Instead, it was like Portland had never happened. Liam passed by her desk 3 times that morning without even glancing her way. When she tried to greet him in the hallway, he just nodded briefly and kept walking. And when she offered coffee, something that had become a tradition between them, he declined without even looking up. "No thanks. I don't need coffee today." Samantha stood there in the hallway holding 2 cups and feeling completely foolish. "All right," she mumbled to herself. "I guess we're back to the robot CEO program." What bothered her the most wasn't just how cold he was acting. It was the fact that she was genuinely hurt, and that was ridiculous because there was nothing between them besides a few jokes and a moment that almost happened. Almost being the key word. "You okay?" asked Megan, her coworker. "You look like you swallowed a whole lemon." "I'm fine. Why wouldn't I be?" "I don't know. You've got that look like you lost a bet and ended up with a bill to pay. That's such a weird comparison. It's a talent of mine." Megan studied her. "Are you sure you're okay? You and the boss seem to be getting along better lately." Samantha nearly choked. "Me and Liam getting along? Where did you get that idea?" "Oh, please." Everyone in the office noticed the teasing, the little smiles, that trip to Portland. It was work. Sure it was. And I'm the first lady. Samantha decided to change the subject before Megan asked more uncomfortable questions. "Do you know if he's all right, Liam? I mean, he seems grumpier than usual today." "Grumpier than usual? Wow. That's nearly impossible." Megan thought for a moment. "Actually, he turned down coffee from 3 different people this morning, and you know how much he depends on caffeine. So, it wasn't just her that made Samantha feel a little better, but also more worried." The rest of the morning dragged on like a snail climbing a wall. Samantha tried to focus on her work, but her mind kept going back to Portland. The moment they almost kissed, the way he looked at her, his laugh during the ice war, it had been real. The connection between them had been real. So why was he acting like she had turned into furniture? By lunchtime, she couldn't take it anymore. She knocked on his office door. "Come in," said the familiar voice, cold as refrigerator ice. Liam was behind his desk, typing. He didn't even look up when she entered. "Do you need something, Miss Hayes?" "Miss Hayes." They were back to formal mode. "Actually, yes. I need to understand what's going on." Now, he looked up, his expression perfectly neutral. "I'm not sure I understand. You've been acting like I have some kind of contagious disease since we got back from Portland. I'm not treating anyone differently. I've simply returned to appropriate professional behavior." Samantha felt a wave of heat rise in her chest. Appropriate professional behavior. Exactly. Liam turned his attention back to the screen. That trip gave us a clear perspective on proper boundaries between employees. Proper boundaries. Yes. Samantha stayed quiet, trying to process what she was hearing. So everything that happened in Portland was a mistake. The conversation, the laughter, the moment we almost... Nothing happened in Portland. He cut her off, still not looking at her. It was just an inconvenient evening caused by bad weather. The coldness in his voice hit her like a bucket of ice water. Samantha's cheeks burned. "I see," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Well, I'm glad we cleared that up. We certainly wouldn't want any more inconveniences." Liam looked up, and for a split second, she thought she saw something flicker across his face, but it was so quick she might have imagined it. "Exactly. Great." Samantha turned to leave, then stopped. "Oh, and Liam." "Of course, Mr. Brooks." She looked him in the eye. "Just so you know, you can pretend nothing happened, but I know you are enjoying it just as much as I was." And the fact that you're running from it only proves you're exactly what I said in that voice message. A stuck-up coward in an expensive suit, and she walked out before he could say anything. The rest of the week was a frozen hell. Liam kept acting like she was invisible, and Samantha decided two could play that game. It was on Friday that Ethan Turner showed up. Ethan was the new marketing intern, 25 years old, sun-bleached blonde hair, an easy smile, and a cheerful attitude that clashed completely with the icy atmosphere of the office. "You must be Samantha," he said, showing up at her desk with a bright smile. "I've heard a lot about you. I hope it was all good. Only the best." Ethan leaned casually on her desk. "They say you're the funniest person in the office." "Well, I do try and very pretty too." Samantha blinked, surprised by his honesty. Then an idea began to take shape in her mind. A terrible, vengeful, probably foolish idea. But it might work. "Thank you, Ethan. You're very charming yourself." She started slow, a brighter smile whenever Ethan walked by, louder laughs when he made jokes, longer chats in the break room. And it worked. The next Monday, when Ethan brought her coffee, Samantha noticed Liam standing in the hallway watching. His jaw was tight. "That's so sweet of you," she said loud enough for Liam to hear, touching Ethan's arm. "You're a sweetheart." Ethan smiled, clearly pleased. "Anything for you, Samantha." On Tuesday, she had lunch with Ethan in the cafeteria, laughing loudly at his surfing stories. Liam was seated 3 tables away, and she could feel his eyes burning into her back. On Wednesday, when Ethan suggested they go out for dinner, Samantha said, "Yes," loudly, right in front of the elevator where Liam was waiting. "That sounds wonderful," she said with a glowing smile. "I love men who know how to have fun." Liam stepped into the elevator with a look that could cut glass. By Thursday, during the weekly team meeting, everything finally exploded. Ethan was presenting a project when Liam interrupted sharply. "This report is incomplete," he said with a coldness that made everyone in the room shrink in their seats. "Sir." Ethan blinked, confused. "The third quarter data is incorrect. The methodology is sloppy, and your conclusions are frankly ridiculous." Samantha felt her blood boil. Ethan had spent days on that report, and she knew it was perfect. She had helped review it. "With all due respect, Mr. Brooks," said Ethan, trying to stay calm, "I reviewed that data 3 times. Then I suggest you review it a 4th. Liam stood up, dominating the room with his presence. "And next time focus less on social distractions and more on the work." The silence in the room was deafening. Everyone knew exactly what Liam meant. Ethan turned red. "Sir, this meeting is over." Liam cut in. "Everyone may leave except you, Miss Hayes." One by one, the co-workers left the room, including Ethan, who gave Samantha a confused look before walking out. Once they were alone, Liam turned to her, his eyes burning with anger. "What exactly do you think you're doing?" "Working like any regular employee." "Don't play games with me, Samantha." "Oh, so I'm Samantha again." She stood up and faced him. "That's interesting. Last week, I was Miss Hayes. You know exactly what I mean. Actually, I don't know. You told me nothing happened in Portland, that it was just a little inconvenience. So why do you care who I'm having lunch with?" Liam took a step toward her. Because what, Liam? "Because you're doing this just to get a reaction out of me. To get a reaction from you." Samantha laughed, but there was no humor in it. "That's a bold assumption. Maybe I'm just moving on. After all, you made it very clear there's nothing going on between us. Samantha, Ethan is handsome, fun, and he treats me like I'm someone worth knowing. Imagine that, as a boy, and you're a man who doesn't know what he wants." She stepped closer. "At least Ethan doesn't go from warm to cold like a broken air conditioner." Liam stared at her for a long moment, breathing heavily. "You have no idea what you're talking about." "Then explain it to me." "I can't." "Can't or won't?" "Both." Samantha shook her head, frustrated. "You're impossible, Liam Brooks. Completely impossible." She turned to leave, but he grabbed her arm. "Samantha, wait." "For what?" "So you can tell me again that nothing happened. That I'm imagining things. So I can tell you you're driving me crazy." She stopped and looked at him. "What?" "You heard me." "Then why?" "Because it's complicated. Because you work for me. Because I'm no good at relationships. Because you're a coward." His eyes lit up. Careful, Samantha. Or what? You're going to fire me. Go ahead. At least I won't have to keep playing this childish game of yours. That's when Liam completely lost control. In one swift move, he pulled her close, pressing her against him, and kissed her. It wasn't a soft or hesitant kiss. It was filled with anger, frustration, and held-back desire. Samantha was shocked for a second, then melted into him, returning the kiss with the same intensity. Weeks of tension, teasing, and silent longing exploded in that moment. When they finally pulled apart, both were out of breath. "Don't flirt with anyone," he whispered against her lips. "Except me." And then, like a spell had been broken, they realized where they were in the meeting room with the door wide open. Anyone could have seen them. "Liam, Samantha, come to my place tonight," he said, his voice low. "Please." Samantha looked into his eyes and saw everything he couldn't put into words. All right. That night changed everything between them. Liam showed a side of himself she had never seen. Vulnerable, passionate, real. And when morning came, Samantha woke up in his arms, feeling whole for the first time in a long time. But reality hit like a cold bucket of water when she noticed the time. "Liam," she shook him. "I need to get home and change. We're going to be late for work." He smiled sleepily. "We can be a little late. Easy for you to say when you're the boss." She laughed, already getting up. "I need to keep up appearances." An hour later, Samantha arrived at the office trying to look normal. Though her heart was still racing from the night before, she had barely sat down at her desk when she noticed something was off. The looks, the way conversation stopped when she walked by, the secretive little smiles exchanged between coworkers. "Morning, Megan," she greeted her colleague, trying to sound casual. Megan nearly spilled her coffee. "Oh, Samantha, good morning." Her voice was unusually high. "So, how was your night?" "Normal." "Why?" "No reason." "Absolutely no reason." Megan laughed nervously. "You look well rested." Before Samantha could ask what was going on, Ryan from accounting passed by her desk, humming softly. "Someone had an interesting night." Samantha frowned. "What are you all talking about?" That's when Laura from HR appeared, holding her phone with a look that was somewhere between amused and concerned. "Samantha, you need to see this." What she saw made her want to hide under her desk. It was a photo of her and Liam in the meeting room kissing passionately. The quality wasn't great, obviously taken in a rush, but you could clearly tell it was them. "Where did you get this?" Samantha asked, her face getting hot. "Someone posted it in the office WhatsApp group." Laura explained. "It's already made the rounds." "Made the rounds?" "Everyone's seen it." Samantha looked around the office and realized, yes, everyone really was looking at her. Some with curiosity, others with disapproval. Huff, and a few with something that looked like envy. "Great," she muttered. "Just perfect." "On the bright side," said Megan, trying to lighten the mood. "You and the boss make a very attractive couple." "Megan." "What?" "It's true. You've got that opposites attract thing going on. You're all spontaneous, and he's all methodical. Controlling might be a better word." Samantha muttered that too. The rest of the morning was an emotional roller coaster. Some coworkers came to say hello, others made sarcastic remarks about unconventional promotion methods, and some simply ignored her. The worst part was when she walked past Victoria's desk from administration and clearly heard, "I always knew she was up to something. No one's that funny without an agenda." Samantha stopped and turned around. "Sorry, Victoria. Did you say something?" Victoria turned red. "I know. I was just spreading gossip about my personal life." "How mature of you, Samantha." "I didn't mean don't worry." "I understand perfectly." Samantha smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Just one question. Are you upset because I'm dating Liam or because he never looked at you twice?" Victoria turned even redder and quickly went back to her work. "Wow," Megan murmured, having seen everything. That was harsh. It was deserved. By noon, Samantha was emotionally drained. Every conversation, every glance, every whisper made her feel like she was under a microscope. That's when Liam showed up. He walked through the office with his usual confidence, greeting people, acting like nothing had changed. When he reached her desk, the entire office went silent. "Samantha," he said, reaching out his hand. "Shall we have lunch?" She looked at his hand, then at all the curious faces around them. "Liam, maybe it's better." "Better what?" He raised an eyebrow. Aren't you hungry? I am, but then let's go. Samantha took his hand, feeling everyone's eyes on them as they walked toward the elevator. You saw the pictures, she said as soon as the doors closed. I did. And you're not worried. Liam looked at her with an amused expression. Why should I be? Because now everyone knows and people are talking, making comments. So what? So what? Oh, and this affects your professional reputation, Samantha. He stopped the elevator between 2 floors and turned to her. I don't care what people think about my personal life, but I do. They're saying I'm taking advantage of the situation, that I have ulterior motives. Do you? Do I what? Have ulterior motive? Samantha looked at him. Of course not. Then why do you care what they say? Before she could answer, Liam kissed her again right there in the stopped elevator. Oh, she protested when they pulled apart. Someone could walk in. Let them. He restarted the elevator. There's no turning back now, Samantha, and I don't want there to be. In the cafeteria, Liam deliberately chose a table in the middle of the room. Samantha tried to sit with her back to the crowd, but he gently turned her chair. Don't hide, he said softly. You didn't do anything wrong. I feel like I did. Why? Because she hesitated. Because now we're the office's main entertainment, and because I don't know if you're doing this because you really want to, or because you feel obligated after what happened. Liam stopped eating and looked at her seriously. You think I feel obligated? I don't know what you feel. Yesterday you ignored me. Today you're making public statements. It's confusing. You're right. He sighed. I was confused, maybe scared. Scared of what? Of you. Of what I feel for you. Of what it means. Samantha felt her heart race. And now I've decided to stop fighting it. In the following weeks, they settled into a routine. Secret meetings on the company rooftop during breaks, where they could talk without curious stares. Notes discreetly left on each other's desks. Inside jokes only they understood. Liam started leaving flowers on her desk every Friday, always with funny cards that made her laugh loud enough for everyone to hear. To the only person who can burn popcorn and still be perfect, oh, thanks for teaching me that Doritos can be a balanced meal. Your favorite CEO. Gradually, the nasty comments faded. Some coworkers even began rooting for the couple, especially after seeing how much more Liam smiled when he was with her. But it wasn't all sunshine. Samantha started noticing little things like how Liam sometimes grew distant during personal conversations, how he changed the subject when she asked about his past, how there was a hidden sadness in his eyes at unexpected moments. Have you ever been married? She asked one afternoon while they shared sandwiches on the rooftop. Liam nearly choked. Why that question? Female curiosity. You're 32, successful, good-looking. You must have broken a few hearts along the way. Some, he answered vaguely. Someone special. Liam stayed silent for so long, she thought he wouldn't answer. No one, he finally said. That answer bothered Samantha more than it should have. She tried to ignore the feeling, but the doubt began to grow like a seed in fertile ground. The following week, while Liam was in a meeting, she needed to pick up some documents from his office. That's when it happened. Looking for the papers in the desk drawer, her fingers found something unexpected. A letter, or rather part of a letter, as if the rest had been torn off. Without thinking, she read the visible words. I know you will never forgive me for what I did, but you need to know that I still love you. I know you still love me too. What we had was real, even though it ended so terribly, Emily. Samantha felt her stomach drop. That letter seemed recent. The handwriting was feminine, delicate, and the tone. Samantha. She jumped quickly, hiding the letter. Liam was standing in the doorway, watching her with an expression she couldn't read. Did you find the documents you needed? He asked. Yes, she lied. I found them. But in truth, she had found much more than she was looking for. Samantha spent the rest of the day pretending everything was normal, but the letter burned in her mind, like a mark. Every smile from Liam, every gentle gesture, every sweet word felt like a lie now. Because when she had asked if there was someone special, he had said no. And now that letter confirmed something else. When he invited her to dinner, she accepted, but only because she needed answers. At the Italian restaurant they had chosen, Liam was relaxed, telling a funny story about a meeting gone wrong, but Samantha could barely focus. You're acting strange today, he observed, cutting into his risotto. Did something happen? Actually, yes. Samantha set down her fork and looked at him. I need to ask you something. Go ahead, about Emily. Liam stopped chewing. The change in his expression was instant, as if a wall had gone up between them. What about Emily? Who is she really? And don't give me that someone from the past story. I saw the letter. Liam, what letter? The letter in your drawer. Her letter. Liam closed his eyes for a moment, as if gathering strength. You went through my things. I was looking for the documents you asked me to get. The letter was right there in plain sight. Samantha leaned forward. So, are you going to tell me the truth, or do I have to guess? Liam let out a heavy sigh. Emily was my fiancée for 3 years. Fiancée. Samantha felt her stomach drop. And what happened? We broke up 2 weeks before the wedding. 2 weeks. That must have been a complete nightmare. The invitations had already been sent, the cake ordered, the venue booked. We had to cancel everything. Samantha could see the pain in his eyes. Even after all these years, why did you break up? Liam stayed silent for so long. She thought he wouldn't answer. She cheated on me, he finally said, his voice low, with my best friend in my apartment, in our bed. Liam. Samantha reached out to touch his hand, but he pulled away. I came home early from work to surprise her. The surprise was mine. I'm sorry. That must have been terrible. It was. He gave a short laugh, but there was no humor in it. 3 years of a relationship, 1 year engaged, and she threw it all away for one night with my best friend. And the letter, the one I found, she writes to me from time to time asking for forgiveness, saying it was a mistake, that she wants a second chance. Samantha felt something cold settle in her chest. And do you consider giving her that second chance? Liam looked at her as if she had said something absurd. Of course not. I've never trusted anyone again since then. But you trust me. Liam hesitated. It's complicated. Complicated? How? Samantha, what happened between us was unexpected. Intense. But I can't what? I can't allow myself to feel anything real again. I can't trust anyone anymore. The words came out like a confession forced from him. Not after what happened. Samantha felt like she'd been punched in the stomach. So what am I to you? A convenient distraction. That's not it. Then, what is it? Because it feels exactly like that. Liam ran his hand through his hair, clearly struggling with himself. You are important to me, more important than you should be, but not important enough for you to truly trust. Samantha, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. She stood up from the table. You're afraid, and I understand fear, Liam, but I can't accept being treated like I'm disposable. Where are you going? Home. I need to think. Samantha, wait, but she was already walking out of the restaurant. The fight that followed in the days after was epic. Liam tried to talk to her at the office, but Samantha kept him at arm's length with sharp comments and fake smiles. You're being childish, he said during a meeting when she deliberately ignored him. And you're being way too realistic. She shot back. Maybe that's why we were such a good match. Their co-workers watched the exchanges like a tennis match, with tension growing each day. It was on Friday that Liam finally snapped. I need to talk to you now. He showed up at her desk like a storm. I'm busy. I wasn't asking. In his office with the door shut, they finally faced each other. This has to stop, Liam said. What? My work? Because I've done everything perfectly. This coldness, these sarcastic remarks were in the middle of a workplace. Samantha, I thought you liked professionalism, not when it's being used as a weapon. I learned from the best. Liam stared at her for a long moment. Is this what you want? For me to say I love you? The question caught her off guard. I want you to stop acting like having feelings is some kind of terminal illness. What if it is? His voice was filled with pain. What if every time I start to feel something, I remember her in my bed with him? What if I just can't trust anyone anymore? Samantha felt her heart breaking for him and for herself. Then you need time to work that out. And I need space to decide if I can wait for you to grow up. Samantha, 1 month, she said. Let's go 1 month without talking, without seeing each other outside of what's necessary for work. After that, either you decide you really want to try, or we end this for good. Liam was silent. 1 month. He finally agreed. The next month was one of the hardest of Samantha's life. Liam stuck to the agreement completely. He was professional at work. But there were no more notes, no more flowers, no more quiet meetings. She spent her nights watching 90 seconds romantic comedies with her friends Lisa and Olivia, drowning her feelings in pizza and ice cream. "Are you sure you're doing the right thing?" Lisa asked one night as they watched You've Got Mail for the third time. "I'm not sure about anything," Samantha admitted. "But I can't be with someone who sees me as a risk to manage. Men are complicated, Olivia. Especially the ones who've been hurt before. Everyone's been hurt in some way," Samantha said. "That's no excuse not to try again." At the office, it felt like living through a Cold War. Liam walked past her desk without looking at her. She only spoke to him about work matters, and everyone could feel the tension in the air. Sometimes she caught him looking at her with an expression she couldn't quite read. Other times, when she thought no one was watching, she'd let herself look at him and miss the man she met in Portland. But she was determined not to be the first to break. It was during the third week that she started feeling strange. First came the morning sickness, then dizziness when she stood up too fast, and constant sleepiness even after 10 hours of rest. "Are you okay?" Megan asked. "You look kind of pale." "Probably just stress," Samantha answered, though a terrible suspicion had begun to grow in her mind. In the fourth week, when she nearly fainted in the office bathroom, she knew she couldn't ignore the signs any longer. On the way home, she stopped by the pharmacy and bought 3 different pregnancy tests, just to be sure. At her apartment, hands trembling, she took the first test. 2 lines. Second test. 2 lines. Third test. 2 lines. Samantha sat on the bathroom floor, staring at the 3 positive tests, and one word echoed in her mind. Pregnant. She was pregnant with Liam Brooks' child. The man who was afraid of real feelings. The man who saw her as a risk. The man who had spent the last month avoiding her. And now, they'd be connected forever, whether they liked it or not. Samantha spent the whole night awake, staring at the ceiling, switching between wanting to laugh and wanting to cry. Pregnant. She was pregnant with the most emotionally unavailable CEO in Manhattan. Perfect, she muttered into her pillow. Just perfect. As if my life wasn't complicated enough. She imagined the conversation. "Hi, Liam. Remember me? That employee you've been avoiding for a month? Well, I've got some interesting news." The next morning, she arrived at the office with a kind of determination she didn't know she had. She had spent hours rehearsing what she would say. But every time she saw Liam from afar, the words slipped right out of her mind. "You look like you've seen a ghost," Megan said, and then argued with it. "Thanks for the free psychological evaluation, always available when needed." Megan studied her. "Seriously, what's going on? You've been acting strange for days." "I'm fine." Fine for you would mean cracking jokes about the bad coffee or making up funny nicknames for clients. "You've been way too quiet." Samantha tried to smile. "Maybe I'm evolving, becoming a more thoughtful person." "Heaven forbid. You being thoughtful is a scary concept." By 5, Samantha knew she couldn't delay it any longer. She waited until Liam left for the parking lot, took a deep breath, and followed him. He was standing by his car, talking on the phone when she walked up. As soon as he saw her, he quickly ended the call. "Samantha." His voice was cautious. "Is something wrong? You could say that." "Yes." Liam looked at her closely, noticing for the first time how tired she seemed. "Are you okay? You look pregnant." The words came out before she could stop them. The silence that followed was deafening. Liam stood so still she wondered if he had stopped breathing. "What did you say?" "You heard me just fine." Samantha crossed her arms, trying to look braver than she felt. "Congratulations, Liam. You're going to be a father." Liam didn't move, as if he were processing something in a foreign language. "Are you sure?" 3 different tests. All positive. Unless I bought defective ones on sale. "Yes, I'm sure." "When did you?" "I found out last night." Samantha let out a humorless laugh. "Funny how life has its own weird sense of humor, doesn't it? We go a whole month without speaking, and now we're connected forever." Liam finally moved, stepping closer to her. "Samantha, look. I'm not telling you this because I want anything from you. You made it clear you don't want anything serious, but I thought you had the right to know. Stop. I can handle this on my own. I have a good job, a decent apartment." Samantha stopped talking. She closed her mouth, surprised by the firmness in his voice. Liam stepped closer, standing right in front of her. Then, to her complete surprise, he reached out and gently touched her stomach. "There's a baby in there," he said, in awe. "Yeah, that's more or less how it works. Our baby. Technically, yes. Liam looked up at her and Samantha saw something she didn't expect. Genuine joy. Then let's do this together. She blinked. Excuse me. You and me, let's do this together. Liam, you don't understand. 5 minutes ago, you couldn't even look at me. Now you're saying, we'll do this together. I know it sounds confusing. It sounds crazy. Maybe it is. He smiled. A real smile she hadn't seen in weeks. But you know what I realized over this past month? What? That I miss you. Every day, every hour. His voice softened. I miss your jokes, your smile, the way you make me laugh even when I'm mad. Samantha felt her heart racing. Liam, I love you, Samantha. The words came out like a confession. Am I scared? Of course. Am I terrified? Absolutely. But I love you more than I'm afraid. You're only saying this because of the baby. No, I'm saying it because it's true. He took her hands in his. The baby just gave me the courage to admit what I already knew. Samantha felt tears stinging her eyes. How do I know you won't run again when things get scary? Because now I have 2 reasons to stay. He touched her stomach again. You and our child. Daughter. She corrected automatically. How do you know? Woman's intuition. She's going to be a stubborn little girl just like her mom. Liam laughed. God help us. In the weeks that followed, it was like Liam had turned into a completely different person. He showed up at her desk with specialties for morning sickness. He obsessively researched pregnancy and shared random facts. Did you know the baby already has fingerprints? He said during lunch. Liam, it's only been 8 weeks, and the heart is already beating. You read the entire book last night, didn't you? Maybe. They rescheduled the doctor's appointment together and Samantha couldn't deny she was touched by his dedication. Liam took notes during the doctor's explanations, asked technical questions, and seemed genuinely fascinated by the entire process. First ultrasound today, said Dr. Thompson, a kind woman in her 50 seconds. Let's take a look at our little one. Samantha lay down on the exam table. Nervous. Liam held her hand and gave it a gentle squeeze. It's okay, he whispered. We're about to see our baby. The doctor applied the cold gel to Samantha's belly and moved the probe. The screen filled with blurry black and white shapes. Let me find it here. The doctor murmured, moving the equipment. Ah, here it is. A tiny shape appeared on the screen, pulsing rhythmically. The heart, the doctor explained, beating perfectly. Liam squeezed Samantha's hand tighter, eyes locked on the screen. It's amazing, he whispered. And very active. The doctor added, continuing the exam. Let me get a better look. Suddenly, she stopped frowning. What is it? Samantha asked, instantly alarmed. Is something wrong? No, nothing wrong. The doctor smiled. Actually, we have a surprise here. What kind of surprise? Liam leaned forward. Look right here. The doctor pointed at the screen. 1 baby and here a 2nd baby. The room went completely silent. A second, Samantha began. Twins. The doctor confirmed with a big smile. Congratulations, you're having twins. Samantha felt the world spin around her. Twins, she repeated as if the word were in another language. As in 2 babies at the same time. Exactly. Oh my goodness. Samantha covered her face with her free hand. 2 babies. 2 kids. 2 college tuitions. 2 weddings someday. Liam, on the other hand, started laughing. Not a little chuckle, a real joyful laugh that filled the room. Liam, Samantha looked at him like he'd lost his mind. Why are you laughing? This is a disaster. It's not a disaster, he said, still laughing and kissing her hand. It's perfect. Perfect. 2 babies are perfect. Have you lost your mind? Maybe. He smiled at her with so much love that Samantha felt her heart melt. But think about it. Now we have twice the reason to make this work, or twice the chances for everything to go wrong. Where's your faith, future mom? Samantha looked at the screen where 2 tiny hearts were beating side by side and felt a mix of total terror and overwhelming love. 2 babies, she murmured again. Samantha Hayes, what have you gotten yourself into? Liam kissed her forehead. The greatest adventure of our lives. 3 weeks after the twin discovery, Samantha stood in the middle of Liam's apartment holding a box with a look of total panic. I can't do this, she announced. I just can't. Liam, who was putting together a crib with instructions in 3 different languages, looked up. Do what? Live with me or build baby furniture? Both. Especially the living together part. You squeeze the toothpaste from the middle. Who does that? Normal people. Normal people squeeze from the bottom up. It's a basic rule of civilization. Liam smiled. Already used to Samantha's panic attacks about domestic details, we can buy 2 tubes of toothpaste and you leave dirty dishes in the sink overnight. 1 coffee cup. It's about the principle. Samantha sat down on the box she was holding. What if we find out we're totally incompatible for living together? What if you find out I sing in the shower loudly? You sing in the shower like a bird with vocal problems. I can't wait to hear it. Samantha stared at him, searching for any hint of sarcasm, but he looked genuinely amused. You have serious self-preservation issues. Maybe. Liam walked over and kissed her forehead, but unwilling to take the risk. Moving into Liam's apartment was an interesting process. Samantha brought 3 boxes of books, an impressive collection of mugs with funny sayings, and a different pair of pajamas for every day of the week. How many pajamas does one person need? Liam asked, watching her put away the 15th set. Is that a rhetorical question? Because the answer is, you can never have too many pajamas. And this one. He held up a pink pajama set with flamingos. That's for special occasions. What kind of special occasions involve flamingos? You'll find out. Adjusting to life together was easier than Samantha expected. Liam turned out to be surprisingly flexible for someone used to controlling every part of his professional life. He let her reorganize the entire kitchen, didn't complain when she turned his office into a half-office, half-future playroom, and even learned how to make pancakes when she started having strange cravings. Pancakes with vanilla ice cream at 7. 0 inches the morning, and he said, one Tuesday, placing the plate in front of her. I'm pretty sure this breaks several nutritional laws. The babies want pancakes, Samantha replied, digging into the food with enthusiasm. Who am I to say no? How do you know it's the babies and not you? Because I usually hate pancakes in the morning. Now I love them, so it's the babies. Flawless logic. They spent weekends shopping for furniture for the baby's room, an activity that revealed some very real personality differences. We're going to need 2 of everything, Liam said, jotting down notes on his tablet. 2 cribs, 2 changing tables, 2 dressers. Or we could just improvise, see what works. Improvise with newborns. Why not? Our parents improvised with us, and we survived. Our parents didn't have twins, minor detail. But Liam was determined to have everything perfectly organized. He made spreadsheets with feeding schedules, researched the best diaper brands, and even bought a book on how to raise twins with maximum efficiency. You do realize babies aren't business projects, right? Samantha asked one evening, finding him making charts about infant sleep patterns. In preparing. You're going overboard. Maybe a little. It was during one of these obsessive prep sessions that Liam decided it was time for Samantha to meet his mother. My mom wants to meet you, he said casually over breakfast. Samantha nearly choked on her orange juice. Your mom now. She's curious about the woman who made me smile again. What if she doesn't like me? Impossible. How can you be so sure? Because I love you and my mother trusts my judgment. Your judgment in relationships isn't exactly flawless considering their history. Liam winced. Lunch with Beatrice Brooks turned out to be surprisingly pleasant. She was an elegant woman in her 60 seconds with Liam's same sharp eyes and a quick wit. So you're the famous Samantha, she said, studying her with interest. Liam talks so much about you I started to wonder if you were imaginary. Sometimes I wonder that too, Samantha replied, earning a warm laugh. I like her, Beatrice declared to Liam as if Samantha wasn't sitting right there. She has personality, and she's not intimidated by you. Thank you. It was a compliment, dear. My son can be intense. I'm starting to see that. Over lunch, Beatrice shared some embarrassing childhood stories about Liam, much to his horror and Samantha's delight. He used to organize his toys by color and size, Beatrice revealed. At 4 years old. That explains a lot, Samantha murmured. And when he found out he was going to have twin siblings, Beatrice continued, ignoring her son's warning glance, he made a schedule for how to help care for them. Wait, Samantha perked up. Liam was going to have twin siblings. We were. Beatrice corrected gently, her smile fading slightly. But I lost the babies in the 6th month. The silence that followed was heavy. Samantha looked at Liam, suddenly understanding why he had been so emotional about their twin news. "I'm so sorry," she said softly. "It was a long time ago," Beatrice replied. "But maybe it explains why Liam's so excited about these babies. It feels like a second chance." After lunch in the car, Samantha held Liam's hand. "Why didn't you tell me about your siblings?" "Because it hurts to think about it." He squeezed her hand. "But when I found out we were having twins, it felt like, I don't know, like it was meant to be." "Meant to be. You believe in destiny now." "I'm starting to believe in a lot of things I never used to." Everything felt perfect. Samantha was adjusting well to the pregnancy. Liam was being the ideal partner, and they were building something real together. That's when the bomb dropped. Samantha was at the apartment sorting through baby clothes Beatrice had bought when Liam's laptop beeped with a new email. Without thinking much, she checked to see if it was something urgent. What she saw made her stop breathing. The email was from Marcus Reed at TechCorp Industries, and the subject line read, "Final merger proposal, personnel matters." Against her better judgment, she opened it. "Liam, as discussed, the merger between Apex and TechCorp is practically finalized. Only a few image issues remain. Our PR team suggests it would be wise to remove Miss Hayes from the company before the official announcement. The personal relationship between you two, while understandable, may be seen as a conflict of interest by the shareholders. We've prepared a generous compensation package that would ensure a discreet and amicable departure. Awaiting your response, Marcus." Samantha read the email 3 times, feeling her world fall apart. Liam knew. He knew they wanted her out of the company, and he hadn't said a word. When Liam came home that evening, he found Samantha sitting in the living room, the laptop open on the table in front of her. "Samantha," he could tell right away something was wrong. "What happened? Were you going to tell me?" she asked, her voice dangerously calm. Liam followed her gaze to the laptop screen and went pale. "Samantha, I can explain." "Can I?" She stood up, hands trembling. "Because I'd love to hear how you explain planning to remove me from the company behind my back." "That's not how it is." "No." "Then, how is it, Liam? How do you explain negotiating my exit like I'm some problem that needs solving?" Liam closed his eyes, defeated. "It's complicated." "No, Liam." Samantha shook her head, eyes burning with tears. "What's complicated is finding out the man you love is willing to sacrifice you for a business deal." "Samantha, let me explain." Liam began, but she was already walking toward the bedroom. "Explain what exactly?" Samantha started throwing her clothes into a suitcase with sharp, angry movements. "How you decided I was disposable, or how you planned to tell me I was being let go. That's not what's happening." "No." She turned to face him, holding a pair of socks like they were weapons. "Then please explain it to me, because from what I read, you're negotiating a quiet and friendly departure for me." Liam ran a hand through his hair, clearly struggling to find the right words. "The merger is important for the company, for all the employees." "Oh, I see. So, you're sacrificing me for the greater good." "It's not a sacrifice. It's complicated." "Stop using that word." Samantha snapped the suitcase shut. "Everything is complicated with you, Liam. Relationships are complicated. Feelings are complicated. Now, work is complicated. You know what's not complicated? Honesty. I was trying to protect you." Samantha laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Protect me from what? From having choices? From knowing the truth about my own life? From stress? You're pregnant with twins, Samantha. You shouldn't have to worry about company politics." "Oh, so now I'm too fragile to handle reality." She grabbed the suitcase and walked to the door. "Perfect. Just perfect. Where are you going?" "To my apartment. Remember that place? That little one I lived in before I made the mistake of trusting you." "Samantha, don't be dramatic." She stopped at the door and slowly turned around. "Dramatic? You just called me dramatic." Liam instantly realized had said the wrong thing. "I didn't mean no. You said exactly what you meant." Samantha shook her head. "You know, Liam, I thought you'd changed, that you'd learned to trust, to open up, but you're still the same man I met on that first day. Controlling, condescending, and emotionally unavailable. That's not true, is it? Then why am I finding out about my own future through an email that wasn't even meant for me?" Liam stayed silent, and Samantha nodded, as if he had confirmed her worst fears. "That's what I thought." Back in her small apartment, Samantha sat on the living room floor and finally allowed the tears to come, not just from anger, but from deep disappointment. She had believed Liam had changed. that they were building something real together, but some people never really change. Her phone rang over and over. Liam calling. She ignored it. It rang again. She ignored it again. On the 10th call, she simply turned the phone off. "It's okay," she said to her belly, where the twins were growing quietly. "Well, do this on our own." It's not the first time a single mom raised kids without help, but even as she said it, her heart felt like it was breaking. In the days that followed, Samantha made a decision. If Liam wanted her out of the company, fine. She'd leave, but on her own terms. She reactivated her old humor blog, Confessions of an Almost Adult, which she had abandoned years ago. She started writing about pregnancy, relationships, and life in general. Using the self-deprecating humor that had always been her trademark, "I just found out I'm expecting twins." My first thought was, great, now I have to buy 2 of everything, including 2 college funds. My second thought was realizing I'll never go to the bathroom alone again for the next 18 years. To her surprise, the blog took off. In 1 week, it had 1,000 followers. In 2 weeks, 5,000 people connected with her honest humor about the struggles of adult life. Today, I found out that the father of my babies thinks I need to be protected from making decisions about my own career. Apparently, being pregnant has turned me into a delicate flower that might wilt at the first sign of stress. Someone forgot to tell me that along with hormones, I also gained emotional fragility and an inability to make rational choices. How convenient. The comments were supportive and funny, and for the first time in weeks, Samantha finally felt like herself again. Meanwhile, at the office, Liam was sinking in regret. He tried to focus on work, but his thoughts kept drifting back to Samantha, to the look of disappointment in her eyes, to the way she had packed her life into a suitcase and walked out of his house and out of his life. "You look terrible," Megan said, walking into his office uninvited. "Thanks for the constructive feedback." "You're welcome." She sat down in the chair across from his desk. "Where's Samantha? At home? At her apartment? Or yours?" Liam shot her an annoyed look. "Her apartment." "Oh, so you two had a fight. It's none of your business." "Of course it is. Samantha's my friend, and you're an idiot if you let her go." "Megan, no, listen to me." She leaned forward. "I've worked here for 5 years. I've never seen you truly smile until you met Samantha. And now you're back to your usual grumpy, unbearable self." "My usual self." "Exactly. And frankly, I prefer the happy version of you. So, whatever you did, undo it." "Oh, inside. It's not that simple. Why do men always think things are more complicated than they really are?" Megan stood up. "Do you love her?" "Yes." "Does she love you?" I think she does." "Then stop being proud and go after her." After Megan left, Liam was alone with his thoughts, and for the first time, he admitted the truth to himself. He had chosen business over Samantha again, just like he'd always done since Emily, always choosing the safe, controllable option instead of taking a real risk. But Samantha wasn't Emily, and now he was losing not only the love of his life, but also the best version of himself. That's when he knew what he had to do. The next morning, Samantha was at home working on a new blog post when someone knocked on the door. She opened it to find a delivery person holding a huge bouquet of sunflowers, her favorite flowers. Tucked inside the bouquet was an envelope. With trembling hands, she opened it and read, "Samantha, I know I don't deserve it, but I need to see you. One last conversation. If after that you want me out of your life, except for the babies, you'll understand. Meet me today at 6:0 Central Park near the lake by the bench where we sat on our second almost first date. I have something important to tell you and a question to ask." "Liam, a question." Samantha looked at the flowers, then at the note, then at her belly where the babies were growing. Part of her wanted to throw the flowers away and ignore the invitation, but another part, the part that still loved him despite everything, was curious. What kind of question could Liam Brooks possibly have that was so important? At 5:45, she found herself walking towards Central Park, wearing a simple light green dress and comfortable sneakers, wondering if she was making the biggest mistake of her life, or maybe, just maybe, giving them one last chance. Samantha arrived at Central Park 5 minutes late, mostly because she had to stop 3 times to tie her shoes. Being pregnant with twins was making simple tasks surprisingly complicated. As she neared the lake, she saw Liam sitting on the bench she had mentioned. But it wasn't the corporate Liam she knew. He wasn't wearing a tie. He was in jeans and sneakers, a sight so unusual she had to blink twice to be sure it was really him. "You came," he said, standing up as she approached. "Curiosity," she replied, trying to keep the tone light. "And you're dressed like a normal person. Thought I'd try something different. Where's the suit? Isn't the world going to end without you in a suit?" Liam gave a nervous smile. "Turns out the world is more resilient than I thought." Samantha sat on the bench, leaving a cautious space between them. "So, what's this question that couldn't be asked over the phone?" Liam sat beside her, but not too close. His hands were slightly shaking, and she realized he was more nervous than she'd ever seen him. "First, I need to say a few things." "I'm listening." Liam took a deep breath like he was preparing for a speech he had practiced 1,000 times. "You were right about everything about me being controlling, condescending, and emotionally unavailable. About me choosing work over you. About not trusting you enough to make your own decisions." Samantha blinked, surprised by the raw honesty. "Okay, I didn't expect you to admit that so easily. I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I realized I was doing with you the same thing I've done in every relationship in my life. Keeping distance, managing variables, protecting myself from getting hurt again. And I realized I was losing the best thing that ever happened to me because of fear." Tears started to form in his eyes, and Samantha felt her heartbeat faster. "Liam, please let me finish." He turned to face her fully. "Before you, I was just existing. I went to work, came home, slept, repeated. There was no joy, no laughter, no surprise, no real life. And now I want it all. I want to wake up every day curious about what funny thing you're going to say. I want to see you burn popcorn and make a mess in the kitchen. I want to argue over toothpaste and hear you sing in the shower like a bird with vocal problems." Despite herself, Samantha smiled. "Go on. I want to be there when our children are born. I want to see their first steps, hear their first words, and watch them probably inherit your gift for creating impossible situations." "They're going to be perfectly normal," Samantha objected. "With you as their mother? Impossible." Liam smiled, tears in his eyes now. "And I can't wait to see what kind of chaos they'll bring to our lives." "Liam, why are you telling me all this?" "Because you taught me how to live, Samantha. Truly live. And now I want to live everything with you." That's when he slipped off the bench and knelt down on the grass. "Oh my God," Samantha whispered. "What are you doing?" "Something I should have done a long time ago." Liam pulled a small blue velvet box from his pocket and opened it. Inside were 3 rings. 2 tiny ones clearly made for babies and a larger one with a simple but elegant diamond. "Samantha Hayes," he said, voice thick with emotion. "Will you marry me? And will you let me be the fully dedicated, probably overprotective father of our children?" Samantha looked at the rings, then at Liam on one knee in the grass, then at a few people who had stopped to watch. "You brought rings for the babies?" she asked, laughing and crying at the same time. "I thought they should be part of the proposal too. They're tiny. They're symbolic. Well, save them until they grow. This is the most ridiculous and sweetest thing anyone has ever done for me. So, is that a yes?" Samantha looked at him, this impossible, frustrating, wonderful man, and felt her heart overflow. "Yes," she said, laughing and crying all at once. "Yes, it's a yes." Liam slipped the ring onto her finger with trembling hands, then stood up and kissed her as people around them clapped. "Are we really doing this?" she asked when they pulled apart. "Apparently." Liam smiled, wiping tears from her cheeks. "Any regrets? Ask me in 50 years. I'll ask every year just to be sure." "Good. That way, I can change my mind if you go back to wearing a tie every day." "Never again." "Liar. Maybe just on Mondays." The next few months passed like a joyful whirlwind. They planned a simple wedding in Beatrice's backyard with just family and close friends. Liam insisted on hiring a wedding planner, but Samantha was determined to keep it personal and relaxed. "No ice swans or chocolate fountains," she said firmly during a meeting with the planner. "But that would be so elegant." The woman protested. "Elegant isn't our style. Our style is chaotic but full of love." Liam laughed. "She's right. We want something that feels like us. And what are you two? 2 people who fell in love because one of them burned popcorn and the other found it charming." A week before the wedding, 7 months pregnant, Samantha was at the bakery doing the final cake tasting. Liam was beside her, taking notes on flavors like it was a crucial business decision. "The chocolate and strawberry one is perfect," Samantha said, attacking the third sample. "You said that about the vanilla too. I can change my mind." "Bride's prerogative. And the lemon too sour for ouch." "What is it?" "Nothing. Just ouch." Samantha bent over, holding her belly. "Samantha." "Liam," she said, looking at him with a mix of panic and excitement. "I think my wedding dress is going to have to be a hospital gown." "Why?" "Because our babies decided they want to meet the wedding cake in person." Liam's eyes widened. Now, and there, in the fanciest bakery in Manhattan, surrounded by cake samples and sugar flowers, Samantha went into labor a week before the wedding. "Well," she said, trying to breathe through another contraction, "at least our love story is going to have an interesting ending." Liam grabbed her hand, laughing nervously. "Interesting. Doesn't even begin to cover it. Our kids are already making chaos before they're even born. They are definitely our kids." What followed was probably the most chaotic ambulance ride in Manhattan history. Samantha was having contractions every 3 minutes. Liam was on the phone trying to juggle 3 things at once, and the paramedic looked like he was questioning his career choices. "Take deep breaths," the paramedic instructed for the 5th time. "I am breathing," Samantha shouted during a contraction. "Hez the one who needs to breathe." Liam looked visibly pale, gripping her hand tightly while speaking on the phone. "Mom?" "Yes. We're on the way to the hospital." "No, it's not a false alarm." "Yes. 1 week before the wedding." "No, we didn't plan it this way." "Liam," Samantha said through panting breaths. "Hang up that phone or I swear ill, throw it out the window." "Mom, I have to go." "Samantha's having violent thoughts." "Violent thoughts?" Samantha glared at him. "Liam Brooks, when this is over, you'll find out what real violent thoughts look like." At the hospital, things didn't calm down much. The medical team was ready for premature twins, but clearly not ready for the couple that came with them. "Sir, you need to calm down," the nurse told Liam, who was pacing back and forth across the room. "I am calm," he replied. "Clearly not calm. I just want to make sure everything's being done right." "Liam," Samantha called from the bed. "You're making me more nervous than the contractions." "Sorry, it's just this is real. It's actually happening." A bit late for that realization, don't you think? Dr. Thompson, the obstetrician, entered the room with the calmness of someone who had seen every kind of family drama before. "How are we doing, Samantha?" "Well, doctor, considering I'm about to give birth to twins a week before my wedding in a hospital instead of on a honeymoon, I'd say I'm fantastic. She's handling this very well." The doctor noted to Liam. "And you, sir?" Liam stopped mid-sentence, looked at Samantha, then at the monitors, and suddenly turned very pale. "I think I'm going to," and fainted, literally. "Liam," Samantha yelled, trying to sit up in bed. "Stay down," the nurse said, rushing to help Liam. "This happens more often than you'd think. He fainted during labor, folks. It happens. Too much stress, too many emotions. As a CEO, he deals with pressure all the time. Apparently, this is a different kind of pressure," Dr. Thompson added with a smile. When Liam woke up 5 minutes later, he found Samantha looking at him with a mix of concern and amusement. "Welcome back, future dad," she said. "How about staying conscious for the rest of the show?" "I fainted." "Yep, right in front of the whole medical team. Very manly of you." "I'm sorry, don't be. It was hilarious. Now come over here and hold my hand like a responsible adult." The next 4 hours were a roller coaster of emotions, pain, nervous jokes, and moments of pure terror. Liam redeemed himself by holding Samantha's hand, offering ice chips when needed, and saying encouraging things even when she threatened him with physical harm. "When this is over," she said, during a particularly strong contraction, "you're getting a vasectomy. Whatever you say. And you'll cook for a whole month. Deal. And you'll handle every nighttime diaper for the first 6 months. That doesn't sound fair. You want to renegotiate right now." "No, ma'am." Finally, at 11:47 p.m., Sophia Brooks was born, followed 3 minutes later by her brother, Alexander Brooks. 2 perfect little babies, small but healthy, crying as if protesting their sudden change of address. Exhausted but glowing, Samantha held both babies, while Liam stood beside the bed with a look that shifted between total awe and overwhelming love. They're so small, he whispered gently, touching Alexander's tiny hand. They're premature, Liam. That was expected and perfect in yours. Samantha smiled at him. Ours. Liam leaned down and kissed her forehead. You were incredible. I know. And you fainted. Ill, try to do better next time. Next time. Samantha looked at him. Liam Brooks, if you think there's going to be a next time. Just kidding. I'm kidding. The first few days at home were absolute wonderful chaos. Sophia had her mother's strong lungs and liked to prove it. At 3.0 inches the morning, Alexander was quieter, but had a special talent for pooping, right as his diaper was being changed. How can two such small people make so much work? Liam asked one morning, holding Sophia while Samantha nursed Alexander. It's one of nature's mysteries. Like how they know exactly when we've just fallen asleep so they can start crying, and how they always manage to make sure they never sleep at the same time. It's military strategy. They're testing us. Beatrice visited every day, bringing food and offering to hold the babies while Samantha took a shower or Liam tried to answer urgent emails. They're beautiful, she said, rocking Sophia. And Sophia definitely has her mother's personality. How can you tell? She complains a lot and wants constant attention. Hey, Samantha protested. It was a compliment, dear. After 2 weeks at home, once they finally found something that resembled a routine, Samantha noticed something important. Liam, she said one night while they took turns rocking Alexander back to sleep. We still haven't gotten married. Liam stopped rocking the baby. That's true. With all the craziness, I completely forgot. Well, I didn't. And I still want to marry you, even after seeing me pass out during labor, especially after that. It proved you're human. Liam smiled. So, should we reschedule everything? Actually, Samantha said with that mischievous smile he knew so well, I have a better idea. What kind of idea? The kind you'll think is completely crazy. Now, I'm worried. You should be. Samantha laid Alexander in the crib and turned to Liam with a sparkle in her eyes. How about I propose to you this time? Liam's eyes widened. You want to propose to me? Why not? You had your chance. Now it's my turn to do it my way. And what's your way? Samantha smiled mysteriously. You'll find out, but I promise it's going to be unforgettable. Liam looked at her, this amazing woman who had turned his life upside down in the best possible way, and smiled. I can't wait to see what you're planning. You should be excited because it's going to be epic. 2 weeks later, Liam was starting to suspect that Samantha was up to something. She had that secret smile that usually came before moments of creative chaos, and she was spending suspicious amounts of time on the phone with Beatrice and Megan. What are you planning? He asked one morning while changing Alexander's diaper. Nothing much. Samantha replied innocently, nursing Sophia. Just organizing a little surprise. Your surprises make me nervous. They should, she smiled, but you're going to like this one, I think. You think. Well, you'll either love it or have a panic attack. Knowing you, probably both. The following Friday, Liam came home from work and found the house strangely quiet. Normally, he'd walk into at least one baby crying and Samantha singing a silly lullaby off-key. Samantha, he called, heading up the stairs. Up here, came her voice from the bedroom. He found the twins peacefully sleeping in their cribs, and Samantha getting ready in front of the mirror, wearing a simple but elegant white dress. You look beautiful, he said, kissing her neck. Special occasion. Very special. She turned to him with a radiant smile. Put on your best outfit. We have somewhere to be. What kind of event? The kind that will change our lives forever again. 20 minutes later, they were in the car with the babies, driving toward the new house Liam had bought for them. A house with a spacious yard and enough rooms for a growing family. Why are we going to the new house? Liam asked, more confused by the minute. Because that's where we're having our engagement party. Our engagement party. Well, technically, it's going to be our proposal party because I haven't officially proposed to you yet. Liam stopped the car in the driveway and looked at her. Samantha, what did you do? Something epic, just like I promised. When they got out of the car, Liam saw that the yard had been transformed. There were small lights strung through the trees, tables decorated with simple flowers, and about 20 people, close family and friends, waiting for them. Samantha, he started, but she was already pulling Sophia out of her car seat. No speeches yet, she said. First, let's greet our guests. Beatrice was the first to come over with tears in her eyes and a huge smile. My son, she said, hugging Liam, get ready for something unforgettable. Mom, you knew about this. Knew, sweetheart. I helped plan it. Your fiancée is a woman of initiative. Megan showed up beside them, holding Alexander. Liam, you look like you've seen a ghost. I have no idea what's going on. What's going on is that Samantha decided you two waited long enough to get officially married, so she organized everything. Everything. What? You'll see, Megan said with a mysterious smile. For the next hour, Liam greeted friends and family, everyone clearly in on some plan he knew nothing about. There were co-workers, including Ethan, who apparently had forgiven Liam for the public embarrassment, Samantha's college friends, and even Dr. Thompson, the obstetrician. Doctor, why are you here? Liam asked, confused. Your fiancé invited me, said I was part of your story. Technically, you helped us bring our children into the world. It only seemed right to have you here when we officially get married. Liam turned to find Samantha behind him, holding a hand-painted wooden sign. Samantha, what? Shh. She raised a finger to her lips. It's my turn to talk. To his surprise, she stepped up onto a chair in the middle of the garden, holding the sign against her chest. Everyone, she called out, can I have your attention? The conversation stopped, and all eyes turned to her. Thank you. So, you might be wondering why you're here on a Friday night in the backyard of our new house, watching a woman who gave birth to twins 2 weeks ago climb onto a chair. Laughter echoed through the garden. The answer is simple. Liam proposed to me a few months ago and I said yes. But then our babies decided to arrive during the wedding cake tasting, and we ended up postponing everything. Why is she telling our whole life story? Liam whispered to Beatrice. Because that's how she does things. Now hush and listen. But I realized something important, Samantha continued. Liam already had his chance to propose. He gave me a beautiful proposal in the park with a ring and everything very romantic and traditional. She turned the sign around, revealing big, colorful painted letters. Liam Brooks, will you marry me before the babies say mommy before daddy? The garden burst into laughter and applause. Liam stood there looking at the sign, then at Samantha, then at all the smiling faces around him. Well, Megan called out, are you going to answer or keep her waiting? Liam started laughing. Not a quiet chuckle, but a full, genuine laugh that filled the garden. Samantha Hayes, he said loud enough for everyone to hear. You are the craziest, most unpredictable, and most wonderful woman I've ever met. So, is that a yes or a no? It's an absolute yes. He climbed up on the chair next to her and kissed her as everyone clapped and cheered. Now you're officially engaged, Megan announced. Again. And to make it official, said Beatrice, appearing with Sophia and Alexander in her arms. The ring-bearers would like to do the honors. What followed was probably the most chaotic ring exchange in history. Sophia started crying just as Beatrice tried to tie the little pillow with the rings to her hand. Alexander spit up on Liam's ring, and when they finally managed to exchange rings, both babies decided it was time for a simultaneous diaper change. Well, said Samantha, holding Liam's hand as Beatrice took the babies inside. At least our official ceremony will be more traditional. Official ceremony. You think I planned all this just to swap rings? Samantha smiled. Liam Brooks, we still have a wedding to celebrate. That's when Dr. Thompson stepped forward, pulling a wallet from his pocket. As it happens, he said, in addition to being a doctor, I'm also a licensed minister, and I'd be honored to officiate this wedding if you're both ready. Liam looked at Samantha, then at the friends and family around them, then at the house where their babies were being changed by their grandmother, and his heart swelled with joy. Samantha Hayes, he said, taking both her hands, will you marry me right now here in this crazy garden surrounded by people who love us and 2 babies who will probably cry through the whole thing? Liam Brooks, she replied, tears in her eyes. I couldn't imagine a more perfect way. The ceremony was everything Samantha had promised. Epic, unforgettable, and completely theirs. Dr. Thompson gave a heartfelt speech about love growing in chaos. Beatrice cried through the entire thing. Megan was the impromptu maid of honor, and Ethan surprisingly was the stand-in best man. And yes, both Sophia and Alexander cried through the vows. For that reason, Dr. Thompson said, raising his voice over the baby's wails, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Liam, you may kiss your bride. The kiss was met with cheers, joyful shouts, and the unmistakable sound of twins protesting all the excitement. "Welcome to married life," Beatrice said, handing the babies back to them, with built-in soundtrack included during the party that followed, with music, homemade food brought by the guests, and lots of laughter. Liam and Samantha managed to steal a few moments alone on the porch. "So," he said, gently rocking Sophia while Samantha nursed Alexander, "we're really married now, officially, legally, and with witnesses. And you pulled it all off by yourself with help from your mom and Megan and basically everyone you know." Liam laughed. "How did I not notice you all were planning this? Because you were busy being a new dad and trying not to panic every time the babies made weird noises. They make a lot of weird noises." "Liam, yes. Do you regret any of it? The voice message I messed up? The chaos we caused at work? Me turning your life upside down?" Liam looked at her, his wife, now the mother of his children, the woman who had turned his carefully managed life into a wonderful, chaotic adventure. "You know what? I've learned," he finally said. "What?" "That real love doesn't come from perfection. It comes from two imperfect people who refuse to give up." Samantha smiled. That bright smile that had captured his heart from day one. "Well," she said, "then we're on the right track because we are definitely not perfect, perfectly imperfect, and our kids will be too. I can't wait to see what kind of chaos they bring." Samantha laughed, looking out at the yard full of people they loved, at the house that would be their home, at the babies in their arms. "Well, Mr. Brooks," she said, "get ready with our family. The adventure is just beginning." And there on the porch of their new home, surrounded by the sounds of laughter, music, and crying babies, Liam Brooks realized he had found exactly what he never knew he was looking for: an imperfect, messy, absolutely perfect life. All because, one day, a voice message was sent to the wrong group. And sometimes the best mistakes are the ones that change everything for the better.